that's a totally different, problem that the legislature kind of created for itself.
Okay.
And here you have to go back to 2006. And a lot of people in Texas that are homeowners may have noticed that their property taxes were going up and up and up, to the point where it became really just like the school districts were charging the maximum that they could collect from property taxes that local districts were collecting. So what basically was happening was there was a de facto state property tax. There really isn't such a thing. It's unconstitutional in Texas, but because local school districts had to tax as much as they could to pay for schools, it was in effect the same as having a state property tax. So they wrote a plan in 2006 that lowers property taxes over 3 years, but they didn't fully fund it. They raised cigarette taxes, they reformed the state's main business tax, but the money that they raised from that, when you look at how much the property tax cuts cost, it was like at least a $6 billion hole.
Right.
So this is like what we like to show people. This is the fiscal note from the original property tax cut that the legislature agreed on. And they knew that the property tax cuts were going to cost a certain amount of money, and then the revenue that they raised to pay for it is those lower amounts. So every biennium, they're basically digging a $6 billion hole for themselves. So even if the economy would have done as well as expected, they still were going to face this gap. So what's happened in real life, now that we know how bad the economy is getting, is that the tax collections are much lower, and the property tax cuts are still up here. I didn't have them here because they haven't written the budget yet, but they'll still probably be about $15 billion for the biennium. The money coming in is less than $3 billion a year. So you've got a huge gap between a commitment that was made for how we pay for public schools and the actual money that was raised to pay for that. So as more and more people do things in the modern economy that aren't reached by a kind of out-of-date tax system, we still have people who need schools and hospitals and roads and all of that, but we don't really have a tax system that supports that. So that's a structural deficit. The school finance thing is just kind of a hole they dug for themselves, and then you combine that with a bad economy, so that's kind of like a perfect storm of 3 different things going on, and all of that is what they're worried will kind of combine in 2011 for the legislature that tries to write a budget then.